Imagine every time you hear a particular sound or see a particular thing, you can't help yourself but to be brought back to that tragic event that happened in your life. Post-traumatic stress disorder, which is commonly referred to as PTSD, happens to a lot of Americans after experiencing tragic events. It has three major types of symptoms, and it affects not only relationships and everyday life, but the brain and the body. So what exactly is PTSD, and why is it so hard to live with? PTSD is an anxiety disorder that occurs after going through an extreme, alarming event that threatens your safety or makes you feel helpless. Many traumatic events can lead to PTSD, such as war, natural disasters, a sudden death of a loved one, rape, kidnapping, abuse, or any shattering event that physically or emotionally pains you. After going through a traumatic event, you constantly relive the tragic event over and over in your head. A lot of people deal with PTSD. In fact, 7.8% of Americans will experience it once in their life. PTSD has three symptoms. If all three are relevant to you, you'll be diagnosed with it. The first symptom is re-experiencing the event. Most people re-experience it in flashbacks, nightmares, and by having intrusive memories. Another symptom is avoidance and numbing symptoms. This is when people avoid certain places and activities that remind them of the event. They feel detached from others and are emotionally numb. They can't recall important aspects of the trauma. The last symptom of PTSD is the arousal symptoms. This is when there's a noticeable increase in anxiety. They have difficulty falling asleep, sudden outbursts of anger, difficulty concentrating, and being startled easily. There are also other common symptoms, according to helpguide.org, like guilt and shame, substance abuse, and suicidal thoughts. Living with PTSD is nowhere near easy. It affects your everyday life. You choose to miss out on certain things because something may bring you back to the event while you're out. It affects your job. You have trouble concentrating and communicating with others. You seem depressed. It affects your relationships. You find it hard to trust people and let them into your life. But not only does it affect you emotionally, it also affects you physically. According to MayoClinic.com, having PTSD increases your risk for getting cardiovascular disease, chronic pain, and skeletal conditions. It also affects your brain, the most important part of your body. The hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for storing and retrieving memories, gets damaged with PTSD because the neighboring part of the brain works with the hippocampus and shuts down when dealing with fear and anger. Fear and anger are hardly a dent in what comes along with PTSD. Living with it is physically and emotionally draining. Re-experiencing the event, avoiding it, and being startled or reminded of it are the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD occurs following an extreme traumatic event that threatens your safety. A lot of people deal with it at one time in their life, and it's far from easy because it affects everything and everyone in your